This is your host, the Apostle Reuben, with another short Bible lesson. Now we're at 1 Corinthians 9:19. And before we get started, brothers and sisters, so-called white man, we call him so-called because he's really Edom. This man is an Edomite along with this man. Their forefathers being the Romans. And again, if you didn't watch my last video, I'm going to look here. Classic biblical baby names. Timeless names for the modern parents. Judith Tropia. Let's look in the book at the bottom. Of interest, according to the commentaries on Hebrew scripture, not Christian scripture, Hebrew, Esau is considered a significant character in world history and the forefather of the Edomites. And the forefather of the Edomites. This is who ruled in the time of Christ. This man, who we call the Caucasian. Now, the thing is, brothers and sisters, many of their children, and this is their children, are teaching the doctrine under the law. And I keep seeing, every time you look at one of these little lives or videos, they want to speak about the law. These people right here, they're the ones that speak against the law the most. There's a reason why. Now, let's begin reading. 1 Corinthians 9:19. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself a servant to all, that I might gain the more. Now, don't let them change the subject. See, Christians, they like to move the goalpost. Excuse me. Let's read. And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. Paul just told you who was under the law. Jews. Now we know some northern kingdom was incorporated with them. Didn't matter though. Paul let us know that the Jews were under the law. They were the only ones under the law. The Sunday Christian pastor cannot prove that all nations were under the law. They cannot prove that. They will not show you the phrase under the law. These were under the law. They were the only ones under the law. And again, when we go to Hebrews, we're going to show you what law they were under. Hebrews 7. And verse 11. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law. The Levitical priesthood was the temple. And that is the law. It's so simple what law he's talking about. Hebrews 10. This is the law the priest handled. Hebrews 10 verse 8. Above, when he says sacrifices and offerings. So sacrifice and offerings and burnt offerings and offerings for sin thou wouldest not. Neither had his pleasure therein, which were offered. Offered the offering by the law of sacrifice. That's the Levitical priesthood. So when we go back to Hebrews 7, now we've went over this again and again, but they want to turn a blind eye to it. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under, there that word is, under it, the people received the law. So that's the law they were under, Levitical priesthood. Has nothing to do with the Ten Commandments as they would try to teach. But the interesting thing, brothers and sisters, we're back at 1 Corinthians 9:21. I want to take you right back here. doing this slow. 1 Corinthians 9 and 20. And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. This is the point. The only nation that was under the law was Israel. All Israel was under the law, but at this time, the Jews were being taught first, as commanded in Mark 13 and 10. We're telling you, brothers and sisters, the only ones that were under the law was Israel. Right here is the proof. A pastor cannot show you a verse where all the nations, any people, was under the law. Only one was under the law. You know why that's important? Galatians. See, Christianity is a farce. It's no good. Galatians 4, verse 4. But when the fullness of time was come, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law. He was made under the law. Circumcised by the priesthood, his parents offered offerings, just like commanded. That's what that means. To redeem them that were under the law. If you don't understand what you just read, but when the fullness of time was come, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law. There is no pastor on this planet that could show you a verse that says all nations, kindred people were under the law. So what does this mean? Christ didn't come to redeem everybody. He only came to redeem them who were under the law. Notice, up in verse 4, but when the fullness of time was come, God sent, S-E-N-T, forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that we, those that were under the law, which is Israelites, might receive the adoption of sons, not any and everybody. That's what y'all don't realize. See, God sent forth his son. God sent forth his son. And it says it again in Matthew 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent. There's that sent again, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. It says the same thing in Galatians 4 and 4. God did not send his son for all nations. He didn't. But this man here wants you to believe that he did because he's not included. He was not under the law. His forefathers were not under the law. That's why when you see in John 18, see, this is the trick. A lot of our people, you can understand it, but when we go to John 18, verse 31, then said Pilate unto them, take ye him and judge him according to your law. And the Jews therefore said unto him, it is not lawful for us to put any man to death. So this man you're looking at and his ancestors and his descendants were not under the law. They were not. This is why that lie is being promoted. That's why in the book of Acts 3, I want you to pay attention, brothers and sisters, the book of Acts 3 and verse 26. Now, when you read verse 25, it's talking about the children of the prophets. So that's Israel. But I want you to focus in on verse 26. Unto you first, he's talking to those that are the children of the prophets, which is Israel. Unto you first, God, having raised up his son, the Messiah Christ, sent him to bless you, not to bless all nations, just you. Have your pastors prove some of these things.